Throughout the program, our viewpoint started to switch pretty early on. I'd say about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks in, we started to see that the communication was coming in from the teachers, and we were able to give feedback if they had any questions. Lunches were coming back empty, so that told us that they were eating.
I always have to ask myself as a superintendent, when we're planning, visioning, working on programs, new things for the school district to make the learning opportunities better for our students, I always have to think in a 13-year increment, right? So it's not just the here and now, it's not just when the child is 4, but you have to think about a 3 or a 4-year-old, and then you have to look at them well into the future to see that child walking across a graduation stage.
The blended program for Hudson works so well because he copies behavior really well. And so I think seeing typical kids doing their ABCs or colors or shapes, he's picking up on it, he's copying it. So that's something that he wasn't being able to do before. When I was wanting to do the pre-K over again, they said, the typical kids teach special needs kids, and they follow along, and that's exactly what I've seen.
I think the biggest benefit for our children is that they see typical kids and how they interact, and they're able to model that.
Monkey see, monkey do, and they have learned how other kids that are typical behave.
It's a very language-enriched program. It's very structured, but it also teaches our children to be highly engaged with each other through play. And so the teachers are modeling that play with them. We're sitting down with them, we're talking to them, we're building their language with them. And I feel that it really helps a lot of our children that are not quite there with the language skills, that are not quite there with the social emotional skills, but then they're around their same age peers who have those skills, and they help build onto those skills.
The other part of that is just the partnership that we've had with the staff, with the teachers, in that they enforce what we're trying to teach at home, whether it's actual academic curriculum. With our daughters, they're still in the potty training process, and so they're reinforcing that at school as well. There's behavior in the discipline, being able to sit and be part of a group, being able to do all of that. And then on the other side, we're doing the same things that they're teaching at home and teaching that process as well.
So I think the biggest difference is the support and the way the teachers build relationships with those students in their classroom. Not that we didn't before, but we had several different classes half day, and this way they get those kids and those families for the entire day to build those relationships, which then supports those students in any of the needs that they have. That's probably the biggest positive part that I see.
What I have seen with this classroom is I have seen the children grow and learn together. The social emotional part of it, children that are coming into my classroom that don't have language, but then they're integrated with other children, and those children have a lot of social language, so they bring them up with that. And they play together and they interact together.
One story that just made me so happy and emotional to think about was how both girls really came in with not a lot of vocabulary, and seeing how much their speech has increased has been amazing. One of my daughters actually uses a device in order to augment her speech, and as she was learning in the classroom, she was teaching the class sign language, because we've used sign language as well. And as she was teaching sign language, she then got her iPad to show how to say the word turtle. And the teacher sent me this beautiful picture of the entire class just gathered around, heads down, looking at the iPad, and her teaching them how to say the word turtle. So things like that, as a parent with actually 2 kids that have special needs, seeing how she's embraced and how they're both embraced and loved on has just been really amazing.
My biological daughter has gone from being I would say slightly verbal. She does sign, she does speak, to at this point she's able to go through her ABCs both in sign language and verbally, and that's something that I think being part of that system has really influenced, because again, it's done at school, it's done at home, so it's constant reinforcement of that.
The benefits for Caleb, our son, have been, I think, tremendous. He plays with other kids. He actually initiates play now, which was a very new thing at the end of the year so far. But he would not have done that before. He's just made a ton of friends, and obviously his vocabulary is coming along. His numbers are coming along. He's just more vocal, more affectionate, even maybe a little bit. So I think a lot of that comes from him being around other kids and seeing how they act with one another.
How they can line up in a line and wait their turn and take turns and sit for 15 minutes at lunchtime. Those weren't things that they would typically have done before. So that's been really great for us in school and also at home, but also creating friendships. Both of them have been invited to birthday parties, and we've been able to enjoy that. So I think that's really great that they've made some friends.
You even see the children grow so much compassion for helping out other children and being there for them, walking alongside them and just helping them and being there for them.
You see the interaction between them, and they bring out the best out of each other, and then you see them smile, and then you see them help the other friends, and then you see them learn also from the other friend. It's been amazing, and it's amazing to just be there.
For us as parents, it's just been cool just to hear how she's taken to that, and just how she's been very helpful with her friends and very kind. I mean, really as a parent, that's what you want, right? And so I think really for us, it's been kind of cool to see that natural transition, and it's made us super proud of her.
The growth difference between what we saw in pre-K 3 to the pre-K 4 is just exponential. And I think the difference, the main part of that difference is seeing other kids and seeing how they interact, as opposed to only those with special needs. Because with special needs, there's such a wide variety. Many are nonverbal. Many have different abilities where they can't do everything. And just being able to see those kids that can do everything has been a huge value to my kids. And then just seeing the relationship of the typical kids with our special needs daughters shows that they bring great value to the typical kids as well.
I think our family has benefited in so many ways with the blended pre-K program. We have seen just such an increase in their social interaction and also with their independence. Their speech has just grown immensely in their ability to communicate with us. And I think just seeing how loved and accepted they are has made a difference to our family. It's really made us feel at home and like we've found a place where we really belong.
Leaving him at school was hard for us at first because we were afraid he's going to run out the front door or something along those lines. And he's not doing that anymore. So, but I just think overall the biggest thing is just his growth. His growth this year has been huge.
It's been cool to see the progress that she's made, but hear about the progress that other kids have made as well. And if they didn't have this opportunity, I don't know that kids would be able to make that progress as they transition into kindergarten and throughout their educational career.
We have students that are now talking in sentences. They're communicating in social behaviors, doing a lot of those different things where they weren't last year as they're growing. But also for just our general ed students that are in that blended pre-K to be models for all students.
From a centralized program standpoint in special education, I think this allows students to be able to have the skills as they transition into elementary school to potentially program out of these programs sooner rather than later because they were afforded this experience to be able to be included around their peers.
When thinking about blended pre-K and really going all in on this, that's why it became a yes, an easy yes, because you have to think about that early childhood impact and all that can happen for that child. And then thinking about looking at these kids into the future, to watch them walk across the stage and graduate and to know where they're going, like that's that's what we're all in this for in education, is that moment to know what is going to happen with their future and what we've invested in financially, but more importantly, relationship-wise with families and their kids, to know that we gave them the best that we could possibly give them in the 13, 14 years for our pre-K kids of them being here with us.